And we're live. All right, everybody. I'm glad to kind of bring a lot of builders and founders here talking about alternative on-ramps into crypto. Most of you guys probably used an exchange like Coinbase or Gemini, but there's many other ways to get into crypto. And each of our panelists here can speak to that because they're doing a business somewhat related to on-ramping new users into crypto. So we're going to start off with Steve Gormley, who's the CEO of Coinmover. Everyone's going to kind of introduce themselves, but let's just start with Steve, and you could give us your background and talk about ATMs and demographics of people who use
Sure.
crypto ATMs.
Sure. So my name is Steve Gormley, and I am the chairman and CEO of Coinmover. We are a privately held, Boston-based crypto ATM platform. And so what that means is we provide consumers who either need or prefer to use cash as their on-ramp to the blockchain. And so to really explain it in the most basic terms, a consumer who is looking to take cash and buy Bitcoin can do a simple search or find us through some of our Facebook ads or Coin ATM Radar or some other branded method, and they locate one of our machines at a convenience store or retail environment near them. They go with their cash, they put the cash in the machine, and within 90 seconds, they're able to buy Bitcoin. And the reason this is such an important component in the blockchain ecosystem is because there is a constituency of unbanked, underbanked, and people who just need or want to leverage cash as their foray onto the blockchain. And when you look at the major exchanges, they can't do that. Like I can't put a $100 bill in my phone. I can't put a C note or a 20 in my laptop, right? So the only option I've got if I want to buy Bitcoin with cash is an ATM machine. And so this is a really green field, and it's an exciting time to be in the crypto ATM market. If I were to kind of give you an analogy and compare it to the regular ATM market, this is where regular ATM machines were in the late 70s and early 80s in terms of adoption and penetration. So from Coinmover's perspective, this is an incredibly exciting time. We provide a service. We are a beachhead, if you will, in the crypto world for people looking to use and leverage cash. And I think that is a meaningful, underserved market that isn't really talked about much in the media and isn't discussed in any great detail. But people with cash are hip to the crypto revolution and want to take part in it. And so they come to Coinmover machines to engage and to be a part of what we consider to be a seismic and historic shift in the financial markets. So that's Coinmover in 4 minutes.
Thanks so much, Steve. Really appreciate that. Yeah, and I think it is very underserved market, and maybe people just don't know that there are other options out there. So, any questions for Steve, real quick, about ATMs? Any of you guys have any questions, Sterlin, Joaquín, or Jamal, about ATMs in general? You can, I'm sure Steve can give us an insight, real quick. Have you guys, with your businesses, have kind of collaborated with ATM businesses? Any of you guys? Sterlin?
Yeah, so at CryptoMex, our sister company in Mexico, we actually have deployed 3 to 4 of our machines right now in Mexico. We own 11 machines total, and we're looking for contracts right now. So we have a lot of experience with that. So my question for Steve would be, what kind of, I'm the risk officer, so I naturally kind of gravitate to compliance related issues and risk related issues. So I'm curious what kind of problems or issues he's experienced having a really high cash business, a high cash flow business, because that is typically automatically deemed high risk space and presents some challenges. So I'm just curious about the challenges.
That's a great question, Sterling. You raised 2 points. So when Coinmover was founded in April of 19, and at the time it deployed its first kiosk, the company and the co-founders recognized the most important first hire was our chief compliance officer. And Coinmover boasts one of the most skilled professionals. Our chief compliance officer, Lisa Legault, who is probably among only a handful of women in fintech at her level, oversees our very robust and rigorous compliance department that manages all of the compliance and screening needs of our consumers. And so we deal sometimes, depending on the amount of money and the tier of service that the customer is using, with more rigorous standards than you might find at a bank. On the cash side of it, when you're talking about risk from that perspective, I actually come out of the cannabis industry. And one of the interesting challenges that the cannabis industry faces that crypto shares is stable and understanding and well-informed and equipped banking partners. And then in the case of ATM companies, cash management and armored car services. And so one of the advantages of having come from the cannabis industry is a network of service providers who have worked in that emerging market and understand the framework for this emerging market. And so our risk issues for collecting cash and armored car services are no different than any ATM operator. We have a machine that takes cash. That cash needs to be swept on a regular basis and banked. And so we deal with that in, with the highest level of compliance, customer service, and security efficiency. So that's how we go about it.
All right, great question, great answer. Thanks, Sterlin and Steve. So let's move on to Jamal. It's Jamal Raees, I think.
Yeah.
Director of Crypto Strategy at Wyre. Welcome aboard, and feel free to explain a little bit about Wyre, on-ramping through it, and also I think there's some new kind of problems that a new product, I think Smart Ramp solves. So maybe just give some context to that, and excited to learn more.
So, hi, I'm Jamal. I run the crypto strategy team at Wyre, really centered around what new assets and what new crypto functionality Wyre supports as a crypto payments company. To back up and kind of talk about Wyre a little bit, Wyre was founded in 2013 and really was just centered around providing a developer toolkit for people to build on top of crypto payments and crypto infrastructure. So we want to think of us as like the Stripe for crypto. We want to provide developers a robust set of APIs so that they can build and integrate crypto functionality within their app. Most people know us as fiat on-ramps. We're one of the primary fiat on-ramps in MetaMask, both in the mobile app and in the browser extension. We service a ton of other customers as well across the board, wallets, decentralized apps, regular traditional Web2 companies. We service companies like Live Nation, GameStop, Tops, Crypto.com. We just provide raw API functionality for crypto payments. There's three general major areas of the stack, but you have to think of us as providing two major value props. Number one, we're providing regulatory coverage and regulatory infrastructure, a compliance and full AML stack that covers apps from actually having to worry about the financial compliance that comes with integrating crypto payments. So that means like we're a registered money service business in the States. We have international licenses. We have money transmitter licenses in the States. That all allows us to do compliant money movement on their users' behalf. So we're that financial backbone. And then obviously my team's role is to build out pre-built functionality so that they can connect via API to a dozen different payment ecosystems, like running a card, being able to run ACH payments, being able to do step-up payments in Europe, being able to take Bitcoin payments in and swap them into Avalanche, being able to take Polygon payments in and swap them into USDC on Ethereum. So all of the crypto and fiat payment functionality and the interoperability between them. Obviously, on the fiat on-ramp side, that makes, it's pretty open and shut use case there, where people take their debit card, people take their credit card or their ACH bank account, and they use it to buy crypto assets and have us deliver those assets non-custodially on the blockchain directly. It could be a custody suite where we actually hold assets on behalf of users and hold KYC data and allow compliant money movement via that custody suite as well. And then off-ramping as well, moving money off the platform, getting people to take crypto, cash out to their bank account, being able to send that cross borders and delivering money in Australia, in Australian dollars as well. So just basic crypto infrastructure as a payment. I don't know if I got to jump soon here, so I don't know if we want to field any questions or anything like that, or otherwise I'm going to pass it off to one of the guys.
Yeah, just one. Does anyone have any questions, Joaquín, Sterlin, and Steve, for Jamal about Wyre? Any questions? I think Joaquín, are you typing something in?
No, just a comment. Jamal, that was great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, Jamal, and I'll see you in the crypto world. So we got Joaquín is next.
So I'll be quick.
Okay. Sure.
Neum is a money movement platform. We were able to make disbursements to 190 countries, 100 different currencies. We have our own real-time payments network, bank account to bank account in 80 of those 190 countries. And we ancillary services that we have also, we can issue wallets in many of those countries. We can give you virtual accounts to collect money without having an entity in those countries and repatriate those funds to your own country. And we're able to issue cards with Visa, MasterCard in 35 of those countries, and we can issue virtual cards and physical cards. Basically, we are a money movement platform connected to all over the world. We have licenses in most of those countries that allows us to do that directly rather than depending on partners. And the mission of the crypto team is to, basically, we've been working the last year to enhance the platform to connect it to the Web3 world and to the crypto world. So we've created ramps on and ramps off for within all that spectrum of countries. We've been working to create on-ramp and off-ramp very seamlessly, so that, for example, if you are a Web3 company and don't want to deal with fiat, we basically can take USDC, for example, and disperse the fiat in a bank account all over the place, or any other APM, alternative payment methods that you may deem necessary within our network. We just acquired a APM network in Southeast Asia called Socash that enhance our ability to capture payments and then onboard them to crypto if we need to, and we'll disperse that crypto to you in wherever you need to. We're a pure B2B company, so we focus on pure API-driven service for your company, and we enable you to be able to do any connection between fiat and crypto in all of those countries, basically. That's it.
That's fantastic. Any questions from Steve or Sterling? And do you work with DAOs, Joaquín?
So that's a very good question. We are in conversations with many DAOs that need these services, and we even have a team that has created a couple of protocols already. So the idea would be that the DAOs wouldn't even need to convert to USDC, but we could take care of the conversion of the native token to the fiat, or even issuing debit cards to the DAO token holders so they can spend their tokens as if it was cash, right? So we have many interesting kind of like projects going on.
Wow, that's fantastic. So any questions, Steve or Sterling? All right, really appreciate it. And so the last one we have is Sterling, and he's going to talk about, I think, Sterlin is with OTC desk called Cryptospace. And, feel free to share a little bit more about yourself and your topic. So.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jun. So I'm Sterlin Lujan. I'm the Chief Risk Officer for Cryptospace. We also have a sister company called Cryptomex. Yes, we are a trade desk, but we're also a technology company. So we have a platform, an MVP, a minimum viable product for a custodianless exchange that we're actually launching, and it's going live today and tomorrow, so that we have that active for our clients right now. But really what I want to talk about is some of the problems that we face from a compliance and regulatory perspective, and specifically for our company, but also for the economy at large regarding cryptocurrency exchanges and trade desks. So one of the issues is compliance-wise. There's a real big challenge in the States, especially because it's very difficult for brokerages and OTC desks to maintain a lot of the compliance standards. Right? It's a big challenge because when you're an MSB in this environment, you have to meet a lot of these regulatory standards. So in my mind, one of the big problems has been overregulation, but also regulatory uncertainty in the US. And what this has actually caused is a phenomenon that's referred to as brain drain or human capital flight. So one of the things that we actually had to do as a company was also spin up our company, a sister company in Mexico, because you guys probably know as well as I do that Latin America is becoming a real hub for crypto innovation. And I think a lot of companies want to be able to innovate. They want to be able to provide their products and their services to countries and to jurisdictions that have more of an open-mindedness toward crypto. And that's not to say that that doesn't exist in the US. It's just that there has been a lot of trouble and a lot of issues regarding compliance. And just let me speak to that a bit. There's an article that was written by Perry Ann Boring, who's been in the space for a long time, and it's referred to as the blockchain brain drain. And the case that she makes in this article, it was written in 2016, is that all the states to be an MSB in the US, all the states require money services license, money transmitter license, MTLs. And the problem is they all have different perspectives and different views around the MTL and what the requirements are. So for small brokerages and OTC firms, it's very challenging to come into these states and to get these licenses. And it really requires millions of dollars and consultants and relationships to acquire those. So you really have to be a capital backed company. You can't really be bootstrapped and do this effectively. So this is what causes a lot of companies to actually leave the US as a jurisdiction and to search elsewhere for more compatible and more hospitable jurisdictions. So I think what we really need to do is work toward improving the regulatory environment in the US and making it more hospitable to these companies, because there is a real issue of regulatory capture. You don't ever want to have a situation where the largest companies can basically take the lion's share of that market because regulations favor them simply because they're larger and they're more boisterous. But the good news is that we still can operate. We still very much do operate. We just have to play within the confines of those laws, but also figure out how we can be flexible to survive. So yes, at Cryptospace, we certainly still operate in the US, but we found it more beneficial, more appealing to work in other jurisdictions, like in Mexico as well. So I do want to make something clear in this. There very much is a lot of risk in crypto. A couple of folks have mentioned this over the course of this event. There's issues around reputational risk, right? There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of scams, a lot of schemes, a lot of rug pulls. And this does pose risk to institutions like ours. So we want to make sure that we can do whatever we can to educate people and to engage in, and this is the solution, to engage in as much self-regulation as possible to move the industry forward. So I'm a big fan of projects like the Solidus Labs has a coalition integrity market. Binance just backed chain abuse. which is basically this initiative to make sure that we can alert consumers and customers to the potential risks in the market, so we can mitigate that risk not only for our firms, but for the blockchain industry at large. So self-regulation is really going to be key, and we have to try to practice that in the US as well as other places in the world, because all the smart people leave.
Yeah, interesting dynamic here and trend. So any questions for Sterlin about the brain drain or just risk in general, regulation, self-regulation?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Sterling. My chief compliance officer is participating today, and she raised a really interesting question, which we'd be curious to understand your perspective on the particularly title.
The IRS Title 31 audits.
The IRS Title 31 audits, and how crypto is being crammed into the same box as the banking industry, and a lot of what's required in an IRS audit doesn't really apply to our industry. And so without a massive lobbying effort, which takes time and money, what's your perspective on that risk and how to mitigate it?
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate situation, Stephen, that's a great question. The unfortunate situation is really the only way that we can solve that, to throw more money at it, not only through lobbying, but actually trying to solve those problems. The first thing that comes to my mind is, in order to get MTLs in various states, we're required by those states to have internal audited financials, right? And it's not always easy to square that circle regarding making sure the financials make sense, because some auditing companies won't even touch you if you're a crypto company. I don't know if you guys experienced that before, but that has been problems in the past with crypto firms. So that also speaks to your question about the IRS and having these auditable requirements that don't really make sense for us. So we're really probably just gonna have to throw more money at it, continue to educate people on crypto and the differences between our industry and the legacy or the traditional financial industry, because there are certainly differences.
All right, yeah, just there are huge challenges we have as an industry, and so hopefully people can support and lobby on behalf of crypto to kind of distinguish crypto from banks especially. So really appreciate it, guys. We got to get on to the next session. Really appreciate Steve, Gormley, Sterlin, Joaquín, and Jamal. It's a great panel, a lot of insights, and so we're gonna have a brief intermission, and we'll have a fireside chat on the future of work next. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jim.